Good morning, good morning, we're calling the meeting at 9:01, Tuesday, November 18th, 1924. Do I have a approval of the minutes of Tuesday, October 15, 2024?
I
Janae,
move to
can I
approve.
just, before
Oh.
we approve them, can we just correct my last name in the minutes? It's spelled wrong. It's Fowler.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. Thanks, Amber. All right, so Steve, do you want to make a motion with the amendment?
Yeah, I'll make a motion with the amended name.
Yeah,
Do I have a second?
you have a second for me.
All in favor?
I,
Any discussion? Nope, we moved. It has been approved. Okay, public comment, Jan.
Just a question for Sharon, with the bridge update. If you could mention anything about the historical bridge down the way that you said you were gonna try to look into. Yeah, okay, thanks.
Thanks, Jan. All right, let's move to the action items here. And we have a request from Pamela Gaddis. Gaddis. Everybody had a chance to read the request. Do I
Yes,
have a motion to?
I move to approve it based on the recommendation of the staff, and Karen also looks like you looked into part of that to make sure that it's on their side enough.
I did, just so the
Did he?
committee knows, when Sherry and I got it and looked at it, I was suspicious that it might have been a landscape line. So Sherry, sent her a note and said we need more detailed information from your plumber. And then I reached out to Daryl and had him give me a second confirmation of that.
Lots
So
of documentation.
Yes.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thorough.
officials
so
here.
it was just on our end of the tailpipe going out of the meter. It just was soaking her flower bed because of where it was located. It had nothing to do with irrigation.
Okay.
Fantastic. Okay, so we have, first Steve, right? Okay, do I have a second?
You do?
I'll second it. This is Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Thanks, Doug. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
right,
I,
great. Okay, any discussion? No, motion has been approved. All right, let's move on to discussion and information items.
Okay. First, I just want to make a mention. I have to leave at 9:30 for some interviews in the other room there. So I want to acknowledge today is Amber's last meeting. And Amber, I just want to thank you for being part of our Public Works Committee. I know it's hard for you to be here in person because of your commitments in life, but I just want to let you know I'll be sending you a little something as a thank you from staff to you for participating on this committee. So I want to acknowledge that today and thank you.
oh, thank you guys very much. It's been a pleasure.
Next, I want to thank the committee. I failed to do that in last month's meeting for the road audit that you guys did. I'm on the very last sheet now, getting it all in a database that I can send straight to our GIS mapping focal point. She came and met with me and I showed her everything and kind of our vision of how we want this translated into our mapping system. And she said, no problem. So as the minute I get this last sheet done, I'm launching it and she'll start putting that into GIS. When it's done at one of our committee meetings, we'll pull that mapping system up so you can see what it looks like and what your work has gone into as far as getting that last piece of our infrastructure into the GIS mapping. So thank you, everybody, for taking your time. Great notes. Some of you guys should have been doctors based on handwriting.
Well, it was great to know that you have to see it when it's dry.
Yes, so now.
When it's wet, it doesn't look too bad
Yeah,
at
when you
all.
go out in the rain now, you notice the streets you looked at, they look like $1 million right now.
Yeah.
When they're dry, they look a lot
Yeah.
different. So thank you for hustling, getting
You
that
bet.
done before the rain came. It was tremendous help.
Good reason to use lotion. people.
Yeah.
That was good, Steve.
That is right.
Oh, by the way, let me get mine out.
All right. Okay, so projects, I'm gonna hit the bridge first so I can get Jan some info. Right now, you'll see over the weekend, I don't know if you noticed, Civil West was out with the surveyors and they're surveying underneath the bridge. They did the bridge deck and now they're underneath. So the next step is between December 2nd and December 6th. They're actually gonna be doing some drilling, coring under there. And so we won't have any information until that is done and they have assessed that information. So I would say a good 3 weeks will be before I have any kind of a status for you.
Okay.
I did call the ODOT and state folks regarding the bridge. They made repairs to down in past Manzanita. What the guy brought to my attention and what I had to go back and just take another look because I had never noticed. All they did with that bridge when they quote retrofitted that, and they didn't do it for seismic, they did it for just the aging aspect of the bridge, is they just added metal steel railings to that existing bridge. And I thought, no, I thought they redid it. Well, they did do some work years ago, and Trevor even mentioned it because he remembered them doing the construction on it. But the guy said, all we did was add steel railings in front of that existing. So when I went back and looked, the part that's broken is still broken. All they did
Wow.
was replace that metal
Yes.
steel railing there. And I said, what's your plan? Are you gonna try to go back and replace that, concrete? Because we are looking at possibly retrofitting ours or rebuilding it to make it look like the original bridge. And he said, it's all about money. He said, I can't even tell you where we're going until we know how we're gonna pay for it, what it's gonna cost. And I said, well, would you keep me posted? Because I said, I swear when I drove by there, visually, all I saw was the original concrete sides. I never noticed that those steel rails were actually in front of that. So he said, no, we added those years ago, and that's probably the construction that you guys saw. And he said, but we've never redone those original concrete sides.
Yeah,
And
well,
I'm like, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
I drive down to Manzanita quite often and I actually took a picture that I was going to send to
Yeah.
you. They did do the concrete work. The reconstruction of the original concrete work with the kind of steeples shapes in there.
Yeah.
It's similar to what we've got here on First Street.
okay.
And,
They did
but
it like just last week or
they
something?
did it maybe a week and a half ago, yeah.
Okay, because I called him about 2.5 weeks ago.
And then they replaced that rail.
Okay,
But, when it failed this last time, not the time right before that,
right.
that rail failed and that piece of concrete.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
metal
fell
and the
down back
concrete.
behind.
That's right. That's right.
And I don't know what caused that. It looked like somebody may have hit it to me, but nobody saw anything apparently. But they did reconstruct
all
it and I'll
fixed
send
now?
you,
I'll have to
Yeah,
go
it's
down
all
there and
fixed.
then follow with him because
The
I
lanes
asked him
are
to
open.
kind of keep me posted because I said, I haven't gone down and touched base with the folks in Newport where they rebuilt that whole bridge.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a steel bridge. And then the only part that's in Newport they kept original are those concrete pillars.
yep,
The more ornate, but the rest of it is all a steel bridge that's green. He said they fussed about the color and everything, but I haven't really gotten into detail of how they paid for that, blah, blah, blah.
right. It's kind of similar, if you remember the 7.2 quake down in Oakland.
Yeah.
I was down there where the Cypress Bridge
Yeah.
collapsed.
Yep,
They found out that they did not wrap the pillars with wrought iron, which was in the budget, but it got too expensive, so they didn't do it.
oh, wow.
So that's why it collapsed.
Mhm,
So you
mhm.
gotta look at, critical budget.
Yeah,
Those are things like those
Yeah.
pillars collapse if
Yeah.
they get the big shake.
right, yeah.
So, I hope they do.
So,
Again.
No, you can't.
Go down and look at it again now that you say the concrete piece, because the rebar and everything
Yeah.
was still exposed when I went.
Correct.
And it's indistinguishable from the old,
Mm-hmm.
pretty close.
Okay.
I haven't gotten out and walked it, but I've driven across it at 25, 30. So,
Okay.
and was able to take a photo.
You
How,
have a photo of it?
yeah, I'll send it to you.
Send it, yeah, send it, and then I'll send it out to the team and include Jan on there. We can get a visual on that.
And how deep are they gonna core here on their testing, do you know? Just
I don't know,
curious.
I'll have to go back and look at what their plan says, but, once they get done, they'll tell us. I think a lot of it depends on what they find when they start
Yeah.
coring.
They have to go to a distance to get some restriction, you know, like get
Yeah.
something solid, so that'll
Yeah.
determine
Right,
when
so
they drill.
they'll core around the existing ones, and then you saw the stakes, how far out they've gone. It kind of shows the separation of, I think, the property line between what the city owns or where the state used to be when they turned the bridge over to us, and where the campground starts. And so they put their stakes out there because the campground actually owns part of that area.
Saw that, yeah.
And so, and until we started this, I really didn't know who owned what, you know? So that's the status of the bridge right now.
One lane of traffic. We'll have
Yeah,
one lane
they'll
of
have
traffic.
flaggers and there'll be one lane of traffic open. Right now, they have no reason to actually have to close the whole thing. If they do, it'll be brief, intermittent, and they'll be sure to let people who they know, first responders and everything, has to get through there. But at this point, they don't think that there's any need to close it. So then our guys were out flagging with one lane when they were doing the top deck. And I was out just kind of watching them. I mean, thank goodness this time of year, it's quiet. So it's probably the best time for it to be doing it. The biggest
Come
issue,
here when it's boom.
tides, you know,
Yeah,
coming in,
that's-
so they've had to watch the tide schedules and try
Yeah.
to schedule this, you know.
So
So,
boom hurricane, nobody wants to come in town.
yeah.
No.
And then
Cyclone bomb.
water resiliency, phase one, we're getting very close to being able to close that out. They're, the seismic valves are in, they're doing all the last minute electrical, what that should be done this week. And then we'll be working with the Shake Alert folks to learn how this works, what triggers it, what do we do when alerts go off, and so on and so forth.
Good.
And that's on the south steel tank and the north steel tank. The third one doesn't go in until our new tank is built. We're not putting it on the old one. Phase two is going well. We're about a week and a half behind schedule just because of everything they encountered when they were digging to pull the line, the new water replacement line. And so that threw us back a little bit. Of course, weather didn't help, but these guys are used to working in all kinds of weather, so that didn't really bother them. But they do have to consider their erosion control and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot that's gone into this. Mike Benefield's had his hands full with it. Trevor's helped. And so I'll say so far so good. They finished up all drilling yesterday to get ready. They reamed that whole path couple, if not third time, just for good graces.
Yeah.
So so far so good on that. Phase three is in progress, as you know, with the engineering completion for the new tank. And so for all intents and purposes, our water resiliency, we'll knock on wood, is going very well.
Back in May, they did a hell of a good job.
Yeah,
You
thank
did
you.
us all
Thank
thorough.
you.
I'm very thorough.
Yeah, and the governor's team's gonna be out tomorrow. Andrew's gonna do his date with her and the folks. Both these rooms are gonna be occupied because of the interviews, so we're gonna be across the street. She'll go out probably to the Oscar site, possibly to the North Water Tank if they want to see the seismic valves and whatnot. But I think we don't have a lot of time because she's gonna leave here and go down to Tillamook and do a similar meeting with the folks down there. But this is kind of another pass of the tours that Rick had been doing, and the governor wanted to catch one of those. And so this is the one that she's supposed to come if the weather doesn't change things. So it's supposed to get pretty nasty today. Later.
Yes, after what, well, it was gonna be 2 o'clock. Now I think it's, well, it was. I think it's earlier now.
Yeah.
It's a little bit earlier. I don't, yeah.
Haystack Heights, they're engineering that project as we speak. They finished all the surveying and whatnot. So that is to bring the water line from the west side of Highway 101 up into the Haystack Heights neighborhood so that we can loop that system. That's a master plan project.
Right.
So that's well on its way. Our target is, as soon after the first of the year as we can, because we want to be done by spring break, because there's a lot of short-term rentals up there, so we don't want to have that neighborhood tore up during that time. And I think that's pretty much it on our projects. I just want to let you guys know where we are as far as the overall master plan on water and wastewater. Council just approved me to use part of our contingency budget to update the wastewater master plan. Our water master plan is already in the midst of being updated. And I didn't want to see those two master plans get too far apart from each other in the continuity of when we keep those updated. So I asked them to allow me to use some of that, and they granted that. So we have completed all of our wastewater master plan projects except 3. One is the grit chamber, which is going to be a sizable, expensive project. Our complete SCADA conversion, which that is a phased process just because of the cost of that. I can't remember our third project in wastewater, but Mike and the team has done an incredible job over the last 3.5, 4 years, just really going after the pump stations aggressively and with grant money and some of our utility money, we have been able to complete those projects. So I think they've done an extraordinary job. Trevor mentoring Mike all the way. I mean, Mike was basically doing daily reads and wastewater and anything that the guys needed his help on, but he certainly wasn't leading the team, and he has been in that lead position now for almost 4 years.
The pump stations have never looked better.
And has gotten a
We're very,
lot
very
done.
fortunate in this community to have what we have.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Our pump stations are amazing. Marty's painted all the inside of every one of them. They've sealed and painted the floors. So as far as just cleanliness and tidiness, as we've been able to get the generators changed out and replaced, and then permanent generators put in the other 4 pump stations, they've taken time to clean them up and really, I mean, they look outstanding. So I'm kind of looking forward to next year's DEQ audit when they come out and they can just see the results of everything that we have done. So we did
Setting up a
really well
standard.
on the last audit. This one is going to blow their minds. So
We're
I think
well
right-
above the standard.
Yeah.
right now, we're focusing on getting some things repaired at the plant. It is aging. It's getting into almost 15 years old, so it's time to address some of the things that need to be replaced out there before we get into some catastrophic situations. So we want to do it proactively and not wait till things fail. And so the guys are focusing on that. So we'll be going through that whole process with the wastewater master plan. Water, like I say, we've completed everything in the wastewater master plan with the exception of all the lines within town that we would have torn the town up to replace. We've done those little by little. And if we do the backbone along Highway 101, we continue to do those as we have a failure and not proactively rip everything up, disrupting
And is
businesses
that
and
with the new
residents.
material?
Mhm.
That's
The
okay.
HDPE. So
Right.
any pipe we're putting in now is HDPE.
Yeah,
We're
that's
not
what I
putting
heard.
PVC or any of the old Simpson or obviously not
Very
the
good.
concrete
It's a new
asbestos.
generation.
So HDPE is the standard pipe that we put in the ground now.
And I was gonna tell Trevor, he did a fantastic job of that tour that we went through all the wastewater
Yes.
and all of the when you go in there, all the little meters are going and you don't want that to go down.
It's complicated, you
Yeah,
know?
it tells you what's going on, you know, and it's
Yeah,
pretty good,
yeah.
nerve system. Very nice.
So besides the line replacement in town and then again going full skating with water, we have completed our master plans. So
Right, very good.
they've done a great job. So that with the overhaul of the master plan, we'll know where we need to be in the next 20 years and we can budget for those things in incremental phases. I think we were able to do a big leapfrog this last 5 years, especially because we got a lot of grant money. We've been able to utilize our utility rate money effectively, so we can stretch our money a little bit further. We had some catastrophic situations with our generators and wastewater, so we were able to use some contingency funds that we would have not typically asked to use. So it enabled us to address some of those things immediately and not starve our infrastructure till we get in some real catastrophic situations. So thanks to the council and Bruce for supporting us in those requests. Anything I forgot? True.
The Midtown restrooms are well ahead of schedule, which is a good thing. We're just waiting on the fixtures to show up, the plumbing fixtures. The new power feed was brought, or conduit was laid last week while I was on vacation from Gower down Rock Court to the new meter base. So the restrooms will be taken off the pump station power feed of Pacific when we're all said and done, which is a good thing.
That's great.
Okay, so everything's going well.
Yeah. Any questions on any projects that I forgot to mention?
Yes, one thing, because I have a neighbor, Kathy
Uh-huh.
Weckworth, that gets involved, and she's a very good person, but she has heard a rumor that we're not going to go forward with the cow system,
what?
the cow,
Okay.
the coastal ocean warning, you know, the speakers.
Mhm,
And she thinks that's very important for people, especially guests,
mhm,
you know, to be able to know what to do in
Mhm.
case of an emergency.
mhm.
So that's just something that I said I will take it to the
Mhm.
meeting and just see and just find out if that's
I think that's a discussion between Andrew and Bruce.
okay,
Um,
very good.
I, like most rumors, they're usually not, there's some truth to them and the majority of it is
But
not.
guess
So
what? You did a great meeting that we went to and I addressed it there, so he does have the ball.
Rick had money in his budget, 16,000 to address two horns that had fallen from the posts and were
Yes.
completely off. I don't think that money was gonna go as far as what they hoped. And he had some thoughts on some greater things that needed to be done. But that's all within Andrew's wheelhouse, and so I won't try to speak to that, but I know that Andrew plans to sit down with Bruce and see what
Just
direction.
tell him that from the community, it's a very important thing.
I let him know that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's it.
What else? Any other questions?
I don't think so.
This is Doug. I have one thing. I listened carefully to what you said about all the accomplishments in the master plan and how you were able to get those accomplishments done. And one of the critical components was the grant money that you had. I'll just say it again. I've said it before. Appreciate and I'm so impressed by the effort of you and your staff, whoever else was involved in chasing down all that money, because I know it's not easy. And now you're seeing the payoff. So thanks again for all that effort.
Thank you, Rick.
You bet, absolutely.
I'm a taxpayer and a resident here, and the last thing I want to see is my taxes be impacted or my utility rates go up. So when we're spending money, I feel like it's my personal budget as well as the city's. And one of my personal goals, and my team has embraced that as well, is we want to show the efficiency in how
Yes.
we're spending the city's money. This is your taxpayer money as well, and that's an important thing.
And I have a new slogan for you.
What?
Get her done.
Get her done.
That's right, because we.
I have a little sign in my office.
Right on it.
And I have to be careful when I take snapshots that doesn't show up
Very
in the
good job.
background.
Somebody
We're
may not
doing,
get
we're
you
doing
on the
epic
pat in
shit.
the back. Yes.
No, I'm very proud of this team, and all of us, including my admins, have had to learn to be grant writers and loan officers and everything else to be able to get the funds to be able to do this, but it's doable. But yeah, it takes a lot of work, but,
Remember, it's 18 inches, to get a pat in the back and a kick in the butt.
that's it. That's
That's what you get
exactly
back to
about the
back.
way it is. Yeah. They go next.
Exactly.
But thank you, Doug, for saying that.
Thank you, Doug.
It feels
It was
good
very
for
nice.
somebody to recognize that.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. You guys have been an extension of us and you've given us good input and good guidance, and I greatly appreciate that. So I consider the Public Works Committee an extension of staff, and you're a critical part to us. I know sometimes it seems quiet and our meetings go really fast, but
We're efficient.
you're efficient and you're still giving us the things that we need. So thank you for that.
Very good.
Well, thank you,
All right,
Karen.
anything else before I have to dive out of here?
Thanks, Karen.
Uh,
The only thing I wanted to say is that's a fantastic map of Cannon Beach.
Isn't that great?
I've never been in this room before, and I don't know, do you know what the date of that is, or the vintage?
It's not vintage.
was-
No.
It's new, I mean, I've never seen it that, you know.
It's just a topography.
Twenty
map, so it's not-
seventeen, Jim Mark had
2017,
those
so that's
printed.
pretty.
August 27th.
He did
August.
that one and he did one of our water and one of our wastewater path. So you can see where that infrastructure runs.
Amazing.
Don't be
We
taking
don't
any
have a lot
pictures
of
of
walls.
this.
No pictures? No pictures, very good, one picture, all right. very good. No videos are allowed here, okay. We're on a tour of
Thanks,
Europe.
you guys. I'm sorry I had to.
All right, no, no
leave.
problem, no problem.
Spread thin this week.
Go get your hiring.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, well, we're actually pretty close to being done. We have good of the order. Anybody for good of the order? I just want to say thank you to Amber again.
Yes.
Thank you for being part of our team and we will miss you. I'm off next month, so we'll be retired together.
Exactly.
I mean.
Yeah, so we will be retiring. Amber is retired a month earlier, so. Congratulations, Amber.
You're next month?
Yes,
Okay.
so anyway.
Thanks, Amber, for all your time you put in. with
Yes,
us.
and Amber, you've brought up some very, very important topics over your service, so that's good.
Thank you very much, you guys. You're great. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, well, if nobody else has anything else, have a great rest of your rainy day.
Thank you.
Thank you.